The barriers to reentering society after leaving prison have only widened during the coronavirus pandemic. And to talk about those challenges, we are now welcomed by Yukari Kane, co-founder of the Prison Journalism Project, and Jonathan Chiu, former layout editor for the San Quentin News. Thank you both for talking with us today. So first, I'll start with you, Jonathan. You were released from San Quentin last May. Can you tell us about your experience leaving prison early in the pandemic?
Yeah, I felt really lucky being released May 1st. The pandemic hit San Quentin in June, and, I felt, I was supposed to actually be released on June 16th, but, the governor had signed my order to be released early. And, that was not, the release was not what I expected. I had a plan, my release to be where my family would come and welcome me home at the gates. My brother would, drive up from Los Angeles, and my mom would travel back from China. But because of COVID, they couldn't come. And but I was still, welcome home with my friends and volunteers from San Quentin.
Well, do you feel like you were given enough resources when you were released?
I had a great support network of friends, which, provided me, they were able to, pick me up, and, they took me shopping. They took me to Walmart and, bought me the essentials. It's been a long time since I, went to Walmart, and, couldn't believe they sell up everything there now. But yeah, they provided me with a lot of resources, and I went to a transitional house in Oakland where I stayed, and they provided me with housing and food there.
Yukari, how has the pandemic made re-entering society after being behind bars even tougher?
I think, what our writers tell us and write about is it's just the isolation. They love their families, they care about their families. Getting together, reuniting with their families is one of the things that everyone looks most forward to. And at the same time, you want to be careful, you want to protect them. And so a lot of our writers don't make the choice not to see their families, Jonathan included. And the stories about that are really painful to read. I think all of us out here have had our lives upended, but if you can imagine just being in prison for years and years, and sometimes more than a decade or more, and having to isolate yourself.
We know more than 2,000 people got infected with COVID-19 in a massive outbreak at San Quentin, with 28 incarcerated men actually dying. So, Jonathan, you were released shortly before the outbreak. You've written for the Prison Journalism Project about how, despite your joy in leaving prison, you were worried about the prison family you left behind. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I actually knew one of the people that passed away inside San Quentin. Who passed away from COVID, and it is my family that I left behind, and because over the years I've known them more than I've known one person for 7 to 10 years. We were at 3 different prisons together, and at that point we were considered more than friends. Like we're more of a family in this community, because we have a tighter bond than most people. We get to know each other, we work together, and, we live together and we eat together. So, I really felt blessed and lucky that, I was able to be given a second chance at life and be able to come back out to society. And at the same time, I really did feel guilty, having to leave everybody behind, and not really even have a proper chance to say goodbye. At that time, prior to my release, we were already, in a sense, quarantined, so I wasn't able to be let out to say goodbye to a lot of people. So it was a good welcome home, but a really sad goodbye for everybody back inside.
As Yukari was mentioning, many of us are dealing with wanting to see our families, but not wanting to endanger them. And Jonathan, you're dealing with that burden on top of getting out of prison after 16 years. How are you striking that balance?
Technology really has helped, especially Zoom nowadays. Zoom has helped for family, not for work. But it's really, I've been able to luckily, communicate with my mom, who's currently in China. And yeah, it's, trying to be responsible and making sure that, I self-quarantine and I don't go out, and that way, I'm keeping everybody safe. Not being able to see people inside, it's, definitely been hard. We still communicate by letters, but definitely also being out here, not being able to see people out here because, most of my friends, they also have families. They're living with their parents or they have children, and, definitely trying to be responsible about, social distancing and not seeing them, only just, talking to them on the phone or on Zoom. But, it is kind of hard because, inside, we're used to being more close because, we don't have technology inside, we don't have cell phones. So, our communication is, we talk to each other one-on-one, we go hang out on the yard and, we sit next to each other in the dining hall and talk. And, in that sense, out here, it has kind of been isolating. But I try to reach out to people as much as I can just to keep that connection.
What about you, Yukari? How do you think we're all going to look back at the prison system during this pandemic?
I think one of the issues that we're most interested in right now, hearing from our writers, is about how the vaccination is rolling out, and also how things are going to return to normal. I feel like we're on the other side of this. We're so close to things getting better, and in some ways it makes it so much harder. I mean, the submissions, the stories that we're getting from our writers inside are still, a lot of things haven't changed. The not being able to social distance, not having access to soap, everybody not wearing masks, not having access to masks. We still hear of second and third and fourth outbreaks, smaller outbreaks inside prison. Our writers disappear off the grid for a few weeks at a time, and we just don't know what's going on. It's still very uncertain times.
Well, Yukari and Jonathan, thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.